Why are both Trump and China eyeing Apple's India factory? Imagine thousands of workers are entering a vast factory near Chennai for the morning shift. Machines are ready, the production line is about to start, and one of the world's most famous smartphones, the iPhone, is going to be assembled on Indian soil. But at the same time, in Washington, Trump asks why iPhones sold in America are being made in India. And on the other hand, Beijing quietly starts increasing pressure on engineers and technology movement. The fear begins right here, because this is not just a story of a mobile phone. This is a battle for global power, jobs, tariffs, supply chain, and future manufacturing control. The curiosity is, why does Trump have a problem with Apple's India factories? Why is China afraid? And how did India become so important in this game? Today, Apple is not just a technology company, but the biggest story in the global supply chain. The iPhone is designed in America, components come from many countries, and for a long time, assembly was mostly done in China. China gave Apple speed, scale, and a skilled manufacturing ecosystem. A network of suppliers, engineers, components, machines, and logistics was built there, which no country can copy overnight. But the world has changed. The tariff war between America and China increased, the risk of dependency on Chinese factories during COVID came to light, and companies started thinking seriously about the China Plus One strategy. China Plus One means not keeping the entire burden of production on China alone. Building a second strong manufacturing base, so that if there is a problem in China, the business does not come to a complete standstill. This is where India enters. India has a large domestic market, a young workforce, government incentives, and the ambition to become an alternative to China for global companies. Apple also slowly started increasing production in India. First, limited assembly happened, then newer models came, and then the role of Foxconn, Tata Electronics, and other suppliers started increasing. Foxconn is Apple's big contract manufacturer. It is a Taiwanese company, but for a long time its biggest manufacturing base remained China. Therefore, Foxconn's increasing investment in India is not just a business decision, but also a geopolitical signal. In May 2025, Foxconn filed for an investment of about $1.5 billion in its India unit. This was a message that despite Trump's warnings, Apple's supply chain does not seem to be retreating from India. Trump's thinking is different. He wants products sold in America, especially iconic products like the iPhone, to be made in America itself. His question is, Apple is an American company, then why is production in India? While talking about Tim Cook in Qatar, Trump said he does not want Apple to build in India. This statement was direct, and the global market heard it carefully. But making the iPhone in America is not that easy. The iPhone is not a simple product. It requires hundreds of suppliers, precision parts, trained workers, testing systems, and a highly coordinated assembly chain. Labor costs in America are high. The supplier ecosystem is not that concentrated. If the iPhone is made entirely in America, the cost could increase significantly, and this could affect the consumer price. Therefore, Apple faces a difficult balance. Trump wants manufacturing in America, China wants to save its control, and Apple wants to strengthen India to reduce risk. Now understand China's worry. For decades, Apple manufacturing did not just give China jobs, but also provided technology learning, a supplier ecosystem, and industrial discipline. Thousands of small and large suppliers developed around iPhone factories in China. Components, tools, casing, connectors, testing equipment, logistics, everything kept connecting into one ecosystem. If Apple increases production in India, it is not just assembly that shifts. Slowly, suppliers, engineers, machine vendors, and component makers could also shift towards India. This is China's real fear. It knows that if final assembly comes today, then components will come tomorrow, then tooling will come, and then the entire electronics cluster will start shifting. China does not want India to become the new major center for global electronics manufacturing, because this could weaken China's factory power, export strength, and bargaining position. According to reports, pressure was seen from the Chinese side on the travel of engineers to India and the movement of specialized equipment. Some reports mentioned Foxconn engineers being called back from India. This might seem simple, but engineers are very important in manufacturing. They don't just come to operate machines, but they set up production lines, fix defects, and stabilize quality. In a product like the iPhone, even a small defect can become a big loss. If a problem occurs in camera alignment, display fitting, casing finish, or the testing process, lakhs of units can be delayed. Therefore, the pullback of engineers was a reminder for India that setting up an assembly plant is the first step, but creating technology depth and a local skill ecosystem is the real challenge. This moment is very big for India. If India remains only at screwdriver assembly, the benefit will be limited. But if India moves into components, tooling, design support, and advanced manufacturing, the game can change. Apple is not coming to India because India is perfect. Apple is coming to India because the world supply chain needs an alternative, and India is currently one of the most promising large markets. India's biggest strength is its scale. Here the consumer market is large, workers are available, and the government is pushing for electronics manufacturing. Schemes like production-linked incentive have motivated companies to manufacture phones in India. This increased exports and gave global brands a reason to build a serious production base in India. According to reports, the iPhone production value in India in 2025 was stated to be around $22 billion, a large part of which was exported. This number shows that India is now becoming not just a market, but also a production base. Due to iPhone exports, India's electronics exports increased rapidly. This is important because for a long time, India's export story was seen more around services, pharma, and textiles. Now, electronics is emerging like a new chapter. If this growth sustains, India can see benefits in both manufacturing jobs and trade balance. But this path is not easy. China's grip on Apple's supply chain is still deep. Many critical components and machines come from the Chinese ecosystem. If China stops equipment or slows down the movement of engineers, India's production ramp-up speed can be affected. Meaning, India will have to build not just factories but a supporting ecosystem as well. The entry of Tata Electronics makes this story even more interesting. For the first time, an Indian company is playing a big role in the Apple supply chain. Tata's entry into iPhone assembly and the component ecosystem is both symbolic and strategic for India. This sends a signal to global companies that Indian players are also entering high-quality electronics manufacturing. Foxconn and Tata are both working together to take India's Apple story forward. But the challenge in front of both is how to reach China-level quality, speed, and scale. Apple does not set up a factory in any country out of emotion. Apple wants low defect rate, fast delivery, predictable policy, and a stable workforce. India will have to prove itself on this very standard. Trump's pressure is a different headache for Apple. If America imposes tariffs or increases pressure on foreign-made iPhones, Apple will have to rethink its cost and market strategy. But staying in China is also a risk for Apple. If China-US tension increases, the risk of tariffs, restrictions, and supply disruptions can increase. Therefore, for Apple, India is not a temporary experiment, but a risk management strategy. It cannot leave China completely, but it also does not want to depend entirely on China. China is watching this shift very carefully. It knows that if Apple scales successfully in India, other electronics companies can also follow the same route. Samsung, laptop makers, wearable companies, and component suppliers can also think that if Apple can do it in India, why can't we? This is why China's resistance is not limited only to Apple. This is a battle for future manufacturing leadership. For India, as big as the opportunity is, the responsibility is equally great. Infrastructure, ports, customs speed, power reliability, skill training, and local supplier base all will have to be improved. If imported parts are delayed in the factory, production stops. If logistics are slow, exports are missed. If there are fewer skilled technicians, there is pressure on quality. A company like Apple can put India on the world map, but India itself will also have to show Apple-level discipline. A supply chain is not built just with slogans. Jobs are also a big factor in this story. New factories provide employment to thousands of workers. Housing, transport, food, maintenance, and local services also grow in the surrounding areas. An iPhone factory does not just make phones. It creates a local economy where young workers learn global manufacturing standards for the first time. But the quality of jobs is also necessary. India will have to remain serious about worker safety, women employment training, dormitory standards, and fair practices. If India has to become a global manufacturing hub, just a cheap labor image will not work. It will have to become a reliable, ethical, and high-quality manufacturing nation. Trump is saying, bring production to America. China is saying, do not let technology and engineers go outside. Apple is saying, I want to diversify risk. And India is saying, give me a chance. This is the most interesting triangle of this entire story. Every side is protecting its economic security, and the iPhone has become a symbol of this global tug-of-war. A common man thinks, where the iPhone was made, what difference does it make? But it makes a difference. Because wherever production goes, jobs, exports, technology learning, and industrial power go along with it. If India seizes this opportunity correctly, then it can get the same jump in electronics manufacturing that the IT boom gave in the services sector. But if India gets stuck only at assembly, then a large part of the value will remain outside. Real money is in components, machinery, patents, design, and high-end manufacturing. Therefore, India will have to ask the next question. Will we just assemble the iPhone, or will we also make important parts of the iPhone supply chain? China's strength has been that it did not just make the final product, it built the entire ecosystem. India will also have to understand this lesson. Apple's shift to India is also a warning. Global companies always move according to efficiency and risk. If India increases policy uncertainty, companies could also look at Vietnam, Thailand, or Mexico. Therefore, this opportunity is not a permanent guarantee. It is a window which India will have to use with speed and seriousness. Foxconn's $1.5 billion investment shows confidence, but the investment will be successful only when the execution on the ground is strong. Before a factory is built, land, approvals, machines, workers, and a supplier network are needed. After the factory runs, quality, compliance, and delivery are needed. China wants to stop India from learning skill transfer. Trump wants to stop America's company from increasing manufacturing outside America. Apple wants to stop cost and risk from going out of control. And India wants to stop this opportunity from slipping out of its hands. This is the real tension of this story. Today, iPhone production is a headline. Tomorrow, it can become a race for semiconductor packaging, battery manufacturing, display modules, and advanced electronics. If India enters deeper into this chain, it will no longer just be Apple's story. It will become a story of Make in India's global credibility. But if China keeps putting pressure on skilled manpower and equipment movement, then India will have to prepare local engineers and a machine ecosystem rapidly. Engineering colleges, ITIs, manufacturing training centers, and supplier development programs will have to be upgraded for Apple-level precision. Because emotion does not work in the global supply chain. There, delivery date, defect rate, cost, capacity, and trust work. In Apple's India story, Trump is not the villain, China is not the villain, and India is not automatically the hero. This is a complex power game, where every country is playing the move of its interest. Trump wants American jobs. China wants to save the manufacturing crown. Apple wants to reduce supply chain risk. India is seeing a chance to become the global factory.
If this video has taught you something new, or if you feel this information should reach more people, don't forget to like and share the video. Your small share can become valuable and useful information for someone else. If you have any questions related to this topic, or if you would like to share your opinion with us, be sure to write in the comment box. We read every question and suggestion from you, because your feedback inspires us to create better content. And if you want to keep receiving such interesting and reliable information about business, the economy, and the world in the future, then don't forget to subscribe to our channel GRT Business and also press the bell icon so that you get notifications of every new video directly. At GRT Business, we always strive to provide you with accurate, balanced, and reliable information. Our news and analysis are prepared based on information obtained from various news agencies, public sources, and public opinion. We make every effort to verify and validate each fact as much as possible. But in case of any possible error or dispute, the responsibility lies with the respective sources. Our only aim is to present you with a correct and trustworthy perspective so that you can understand any topic better.